What's up, everyone? We're back.
Dr. Maxfield.
Dr. Shah, and welcome back to our channel, Doctorly, where we talk about all things skincare and dermatology. Today, we have a special topic. We've done some foreshadowing in the past on this ingredient, but it's one of my favorite skincare ingredients. So what are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about squalane.
So all things squalane, you may have seen it in some of your skincare products if you look at the ingredient list. Why is it there? What does it do? Why is it such a special ingredient?
Yeah, why do we love it? Why does it do more than you think it does? And where do you find it?
Exactly. So all things squalane today. Here we go.
Here we go.
So for this video, we're partnering with Biossance, the obvious choice because they are the king of squalane skincare products. And they go out of their way to make products with squalane that are not only sustainable, but they're highly stable and highly effective products.
Yeah, and one of the comments Dr. Shah got during one of his Instagrams was, why did Biossance make this their ride or die? And they really did. This is something they're doubling down on, and we're just going to talk about why it's worth it.
So a few days ago, I did a poll on my Instagram story where I asked all of you to ask us questions so that we could guide this video. So I wanted to know what questions you all had about squalane, what questions you had about Biossance, so that we could address them in this video. So one of the first questions that we got, and we got this question a lot, but this question comes from who?
This question comes from Dahoot Kamal and then also Cindy Fifi. And it was just simple. What is squalane or squalane versus squalene? What's the difference?
So what's the difference between these two, right? So first, the spelling is different, right? So you have an E, squalene. Now, squalene is a skin identical lipid, meaning that we naturally produce squalene as part of our natural lipids in our skin barrier. Now, squalene production ramps up through puberty and through maturity, and then it starts to decline in your late 20s and 30s. And then as we age, our skin also gets drier as that squalene production decreases.
And so squalane is created from squalene, and you saturate it by adding a bunch of hydrogens to it, you hydrogenate it, and that makes it more stable, better tolerated. So you lose those negatives of the breakdown, but you keep actually a lot of the benefits of it. And that's why this is the preferred ingredient for skincare products.
Right. So in your skincare products, you'll see squalane. It's extremely stable and it has a ton of benefits. And from my own personal experience, it's an ingredient that I noticed in a lot of my moisturizers. And I mentioned this in a previous video. There's a lot of moisturizers that I love. And then I looked at the ingredient list and I found that one of the common factors in these moisturizers was that they all contain squalane. And so it's just an ingredient that sits really well for my skin. So then the next question that we got is it compatible with a lot of other ingredients, or do you have to be careful what you mix squalane with? What do you think about that?
And so this is nice because this is one of those ingredients that's pretty neutral in how it plays with others. So you can incorporate this, I think, without exception with any other ingredient. It's not going to neutralize it. It's not going to decrease its effectiveness. And you can use it for a lot of different skin conditions too.
Right. I think if you look at the Biossance products, they all contain squalane, and you have retinols and you have acids and you have sunscreens and you have cleansers. And so it pretty much can be mixed with any ingredient and still be stable because, like I said, the hydrogenated form of squalane is extremely stable, mixes really well. Now, you probably don't want to put the 100% squalane oil as the first step in your skincare routine because your other skincare ingredients may not penetrate as well, but you can have squalane mixed well with almost any skincare ingredient. The next question that we got a lot of variations of is basically, who is it safe for, right? Can you be allergic to squalane? Is it okay for people with acne or oily prone skin? Because you think this is an oil, right? So if you have oily skin or you have acne prone skin, is this oil gonna clog your pores or make your acne worse? So let's start first with the allergic component of this. Now, like I said, squalene is naturally produced by the skin. It's a skin identical lipid. And so because of that, it's very, very unlikely that you're gonna be allergic to squalene or squalane. That being said, you could be allergic to anything, but from our research, and I kind of looked through the literature on this one, because I wasn't sure what was out there on it, I have not seen any cases of someone being allergic to squalane in the literature. Could it happen potentially? Of course it could happen, but the risk is incredibly low because, like hyaluronic acid and like other ingredients that are produced by our skin, they're naturally produced, and so our body doesn't usually form an immune response to it because it recognizes it as something similar to what you're already producing.
Right. It's already there in your skin. Your body's expecting it to be there, so it's unlikely to even cause irritation as well as allergy. And the next part, what skin types can this be used for? And this is actually one of those misconceptions. So the idea that you have acne prone or oily skin precluding you from using moisturizers or an ingredient like squalane is actually kind of a problem. because people will use some of these harsh acne ingredients, but then they won't follow it with a moisturizing ingredient, and then they can't tolerate the active ingredients. So yes, you can use this with all types of skin, and yes, you can actually use this with acne-prone skin.
Yeah, so that's, like you said, a common misconception. Something I was actually told, like, you don't need to moisturize if you have oily or acne-prone skin. But a lot of our skincare ingredients that treat acne, your retinoids, your salicylic acids, your benzoyl peroxides, they're very, very drying. And that drying can lead to more inflammation, more redness, and the moisturizer can kind of offset that. So if you have oily, acne-prone skin, I highly recommend moisturizing. I think it's actually going to make a huge difference in your skincare routine. That being said, now squalene, when it becomes oxidized or goes through a hydrogen peroxide type of reaction, can clog your pores. And that's the reason why we don't use squalene in our skincare ingredients, because when it degrades, it can clog your pores. But squalene, being as stable as it is, does not end up clogging your pores and is safe for people with acne-prone skin.
And then another side of this is, does it treat your acne? And the answer is no. It's not really an active ingredient, but it will help you use your more effective ingredients.
Right. So you can layer this in. So if your dermatologist gave you a good acne routine and you have, a retinoid or an antibiotic in your routine, you could layer squalene on top of that routine and it wouldn't interfere with that routine, but it's not an anti-acne ingredient. The next question that we got is, with so many skincare oils out there, and this is true, and Dr. Maxfield, the king of skincare oils in general, right? With so many oils out there, why did Biossance choose squalene to be their ride or die? I actually love this question. So let's kind of answer that, because like I said, it's an ingredient that I found that I love in a lot of my moisturizers, but why do I love it and what does it do?
So here's what gets me. I feel like a lot of companies and products use these oils indiscriminately. They're just like, here's 10 oils in a product, bam. But no, this is why I got on this. All oils have like a distinct and unique feature about them. They all maybe have some occlusive properties, but there's more to it. And squalane has some unique properties, especially moisturizing. It not only acts as a humectant to draw water in, it also works as an occlusive to lock that moisture in. And that's pretty special.
Right, so it's emollient, so it moisturizes, kind of softens those edges of your skin cells. At the same time, it draws water into it, similar to hyaluronic acid, to kind of plump and moisturize the skin. Not just that, but it's also an antioxidant, right? So, all day we're exposed to free radicals, whether it be from the sun, whether it be from environmental pollutants. And basically, as an antioxidant, it helps to kind of offset some of these things. So it's basically the ultimate multitasker as far as the skincare oil is concerned. It's well tolerated. A lot of people, it's not pore clogging, but it also has these additional benefits that we mentioned.
Right, and that's what you want out of a moisturizer. This is not something you should be just making super complex. This one ingredient can cover multiple things, and that helps you simplify your routine.
And I'm all about simplifying your skincare routine. I always say this, 3-4 step skincare routines maximum. You really don't need more than that. So we'll talk about how to use some of these products and some of my favorite products from Biossance, some of his favorite products from Biossance as well. But Biossance actually goes out of their way, and this is really important, is where does the squalene come from, right? So like I said, squalene initially came from shark livers, and then most squalene is actually plant derived, either comes from olives or it comes from sugarcane, or you could actually take the squalene and hydrogenate it to form squalene. But a lot of people are making this stuff in a lab at this point. So Biossance's squalene actually comes from sugarcane, and it's sustainably sourced. It goes through this very complicated process, and their scientists kind of let us in on some of this process, but it goes through this process where it's broken down and they use all parts of that sugarcane plant to basically reuse it, recycle it, whether it's for energy, whether it's for the soil, or whether it's for the actual product itself. They actually go out of their way to make a very highly stable form of squalene that's not only great, but also sustainable. So Biossance has squalene integrated in a lot of their products that have sort of actives that are going to do a lot of heavy lifting. Lactic acid, retinol, right? But what does squalene oil do on its own, right? So if you just use squalene oil by itself, what would it do for your skin?
So we said it's going to moisturize your skin in 2 ways, which is pretty unique. And then additionally, it's going to help plump that skin, give it some nice body, look healthy. And from that body, it's going to help minimize, soften up those fine lines and wrinkles. And these are those immediate effects you're going to get like right away after using this.
So similar to hyaluronic acid, it's going to have that immediate plumping effect because of its humectant properties. So you'll notice softening of your fine lines and wrinkles, in addition to having sort of that glowy, sort of dewy look that I'm always like radiant, whatever, whatever that look, the glow.
Okay, I don't hate Dewey. It's just like Napoleon Dynamite. God. I heard way too much about it before I experienced it. And so it's just like, I'm over it.
Whatever. Next up, some of our favorite products from Biossance. So this is a brand that I've been using now for a while. Over a year. Now, initially, I got these products. I had no idea what to expect from it. Packaging is really pretty and all that. Whatever, right? That's not important. I applied these products to my skin and I was just blown away. So if you follow me on other platforms or you've seen some of our earlier videos, we've mentioned some of the products from Biossance in those videos as well. So I'm going to talk about a lot of the products. If you've already watched some of my other channels, you'll know what my favorites are, but we'll dive into it. Right. First, let's talk about one that we both sort of love, the 100% squalane oil, right? So 100% squalane oil, the squalane oil that is sugarcane derived that comes from Biossance. Now, how would you apply this?
I would again apply this towards the end of the skincare routine after your actives. This is going to be one of the last steps, if not the last step before sunscreen.
Exactly, yeah. There's some sunscreens that actually have squalane in them, but you can have this as your last step. And so I do this at night. Sometimes I use my moisturizer and then I follow it with the 100% squalane oil. It stays on all night. I can attest to that. Not only that, but they also mention here that you can use it in your hair. Would you use this in your hair?
Okay, I love this though, because people are still putting olive oil in their hair. You have to stop doing that. That is the worst. This is one of those excellent oils for your skin and your hair.
Right, so a lot of those properties that we mentioned, moisturizing, emollient properties, humectant properties are going to be really great for the hair, the antioxidant properties. So you can actually use this in the hair and it would be totally fine. Now, like you mentioned, olive oil, not only can it disrupt the skin barrier, but also grows yeast and can actually make your dandruff much worse. And so I much prefer using this 100% squalane oil in your hair. I think this is a great and well-tolated oil that I personally use and really like a lot.
My pick is squalane and their phytoretinol serum. So a couple things about this. First of all, this is a phytoretinol, so this is bakuchiol. And we've talked about this before too. Of all of the retinol dupes or retinoid dupes, this one has like a decent amount of evidence that it can have similar benefits that are provided traditionally by retinoids. It in and of itself is like very well tolerated, and then the squalane here is going to also just make it even better tolerated and provide that back-end moisturizing effect. Now, let's let Dr. Shah, I don't want to smell it on my arm. Let's let him smell this.
Okay, so he was raving about the way that this product smells, and so it does smell good. I'll give you that. But that makes me suspicious. Why does it smell good?
Right, so this has, it's not a fragrance mix, and there is actually a difference in my mind. So this does have like naturally fragranced things like citrus, but it doesn't have like a mix of a combination of just a barrage of other things. It's like a subtle smell, and I know it is kind of taboo for a dermatologist to talk about like smells and fragrances. But look, I have an opinion about it. I like the way it smells a lot.
Yeah, there's actually differing opinions on this channel about fragrance. It's a very actually controversial topic in skincare. What does fragrance do to skincare? It actually adds to the experience of skincare, right? Exactly. And I mentioned this before. Now, if you're somebody who has sort of a no-nonsense approach to skincare, you're not going to care about the way that your products smell. You may actually prefer products that are fragrance-free. Now, having a product that is scented, as long as you're not allergic to it, is actually not a problem. Right?
Right. And that's the thing. We've been pretty consistent about this throughout, actually, in that we say, fragrance doesn't add to what your skincare is doing for you. It adds to the experience. And if you don't have an allergic or irritation reaction from it, then, it's you. It's your experience. This is your journey through skincare. And then in addition to these things, it also has niacinamide, just another really well-rounded plug-and-play ingredient for a lot of skin conditions. And then it also has glycerin, just another humectant and moisturizing ingredient.
And so it has some of these ingredients that add some fragrance to it, like we mentioned, citrus, geraniol, limonene, linalool. Now, I prefer when they have the ingredients listed like that over fragrance mix. My issue with fragrance mix is that you have no idea what's in it. Right? So it's a proprietary ingredient in a lot of skincare products, and it could be a mixture of a lot of these ingredients. We have no idea what's in them, but if we treat people with allergies all the time, and so being able to identify exactly what's causing that allergy is really important to us. And so can these ingredients cause sensitivity or allergy in some people? Of course that they can, but when you're able to identify what they are, then you can tell a patient, hey, you should avoid limonene or linalool because you're allergic to it. And so I like when they list out ingredients that are fragrant, because that way you can know what to avoid.
Yeah, and then this, like any other product that has certain ingredients, you can patch test it on your arm, try it out first, and then just see if you tolerate it, and then go for it.
All right, so next up, one of my favorite products. Favorite products ever, and I've talked about this before. Ever, squalene and marine algae eye cream. Okay, controversial eye creams. We got to talk about it. A longer video on eye creams coming soon, but we got to talk about eye creams. Is the eye skin different than the rest of the body?
Hands down, yes. We know this from the microscope. We know this everywhere.
Dr. Maxfield and I are big microscope nerds.
Totally.
A big part of our training in dermatology is microscope based, but certain people take a special interest in the microscope. We like the microscope because I feel like when we know what the skin looks like, we can know how to treat it. And that's sort of the basis of this whole channel, is understanding how the skin works so that we know how to treat it. Eyelid skin is very much different than the rest of the face. Not only is it much thinner, but also has less oil glands and less regenerative capacity. It also has the highest absorption rate of any skin on the body. And so it other than like the mouth, right? But of the skin, like the epidermal skin, the eyelid absorbs higher than anything else, right? So you have to be very gentle around your eyelids. That being said, what you use on your eyelids, you can use on the rest of your face. What you use on the rest of your face, though, you may not be able to use on your eyelids. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. A square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square.
Exactly. Nailed it. Okay, so why do I like this? I wish that it was a moisturizer for the whole face, I'll be honest, because I love it that much. But this has squalene, it has marine algae in it, it has hyaluronic acid in it, it has jojoba esters in it, it has astaxanthin in it, which is an extremely powerful antioxidant. Some people claim that it's 6,000 times more potent than vitamin C as an antioxidant. So incredibly powerful ingredient. Very, very powerful. And I've actually noticed a huge benefit under my under eyes with this. It's helped with puffiness. It's helped with fine lines around my eyes. And actually remember when I was complaining about my eyelids?
Everybody remembers.
So this was the eye cream.
Oh, that was it. That's interesting though, because if you can somehow find back in our library videos, we couldn't remember what exact that perfect ingredient, perfect product was that helped offset his eyelid dermatitis.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite ones. Let's talk about marine algae. What does it do?
So, okay, marine algae is interesting. This is one of those ingredients you kind of read as, I think, a physician, and you're like, okay, maybe quasi-science. But there are studies that have been done on marine algae in a lot of different settings. It has, of course, huge antioxidant potential. It also actually does help with dyspigmentation, hyperpigmentation, photoaging, skin aging, a lot of things.
So like a lot of you know, this is a thick moisturizer, as a matter of fact, but you can use it. I use this twice a day. I have no issues with using this. I actually apply this first, right? So I cleanse my face. I apply my eye cream first because I want this area to be clean, uncontaminated. Then I apply my other skincare ingredients to the rest of my face. That's just how I do things. It's really well tolerated. I have very bizarre eyelids. I love this product. And I wish it was bigger and I wish it was a full moisturizer for the face, but it's not, and I love it.
And so the last one is squalane and the glycolic acid renewing mask. Now here's why I like this. We've talked about, I guess, these masks, exfoliators, and even some deeper peels just ad nauseum. And I like this one because it has these alpha hydroxy acids like glycolic acid and some others. But then you have something to offset some of that irritation, and that's the squalane. Just an excellent choice to offset irritation from anything, and this is no exception. And then additionally, this also has licorice root extract. And I love that. Licorice root is great for dyspigmentation and is just another added layer to this mask.
Yeah, it has a lot of benefits for hyperpigmentation, and in addition, glycolic acid is also going to help with hyperpigmentation. So what would you say this product is going to do for your skin?
This is, again, one of those things I think you're going to get an immediate brightening effect. Like, it's not going to fix the dyspigmentation necessarily immediately, but overall, I think skin looks just healthier pretty soon after rinsing this off.
Yeah, this is going to improve skin texture and also long-term, after several uses, help with hyperpigmentation. So how often would you use this product? Because it is an acid.
So this is like such a controversial thing. We say this all the time. I don't think there's actually like a consensus scientific statement because everybody's skin is different. Everyone tolerates these differently. We've generally recommended like once a week would be a good thing. I know the package insert says, I think, once to twice a week. I think that's fine. Your limiting step is going to be irritation.
Right. And you probably don't need to exfoliate that off. So I would say once a week would be perfect to see the benefits. And also, you're going to be using this as a mask, and it's going to make you more sensitive to the sun.
Right.
So you definitely want to wear sunscreen in the morning, especially when you use any alpha hydroxy acid. But it's going to have a lot of benefits, and it's going to have that additional benefits of squalane that all the Biossance products have. All right. So next up, common favorite. You may have seen this appear in our exfoliation video. This is the squalane and lactic acid resurfacing night serum. This is something that I've used for a long time because lactic acid is my favorite exfoliant, because not only does it exfoliate, but it also moisturizes at the same time. So lactic acid is also an alpha hydroxy acid, will make you more sensitive to the sun, but it has that additional moisturizing benefits if you're somebody like me who always feels like their skin's a little bit dry. And so lactic acid, amazing serum to use. You can use this one a little bit more frequently than the mask because it's not as harsh. So you could use this more like 2 nights a week or 1 night a week. This is one of the products that definitely helped improve my skin texture over time. It does have some lavender in it and I think linalool in it. So those are some sensitizing ingredients for some people. Because you know what's in them, you can know whether or not you need to avoid them. I tend to tolerate it pretty well, and it doesn't have an overwhelming lavender smell, which a lot of skincare products can have when they have lavender in them. It's definitely not overwhelming, but it is super well tolerated by me. And lactic acid is actually a pretty foul smelling ingredient, and that's probably why they had to add that lavender to it.
Actually, good point. And squalane itself can have like a pretty bad odor. Someone actually commented on my post about squalane on this, and that's another reason I love these products. I don't think you'll ever notice like a squalane smell from any of these.
That's because when squalane or squalene is actually broken down, it starts to have a foul smelling odor. And because the squalane products from Biossance are so stable, they don't break down and create that odor that a lot of other squalane products will. So that sums up why squalane is such a good ingredient. And you may look at the back of your moisturizers and find that you already have squalane in your products. And these are a summary of also our favorite products from Biossance. If they fit into your routine, or if this is something that you're looking for example, if you're looking for a new eye cream, or you're looking for a new exfoliant, or a new phytoretinol, something with bakuchiol in it, then these would be good skincare products to look for. Of course, if you don't particularly need these things, then don't just purchase them. We're big proponents of trying to save your money and using ingredients as deliberately as possible. But we overall think squalane is an amazing oil to use in your skincare routine.
Yeah, we do. And I think that's something we always look for, these ingredients that just like have very good benefits, deliberate benefits, have been studied, and then also are generally well tolerated. And this just fits perfectly into that category.
Yeah, they're products that I've loved and I've used for a long time and can really stand behind. So please like, comment, subscribe. If you found this helpful, let us know in the comments. We appreciate all of your feedback.
Always, we appreciate you.
All right, so for this video, we're obviously partnering with Squalane. We've partnered with Squalane.